Good morning, beautiful humans. It is April 23rd, 2018, and yesterday was Earth Day. So I thought I'd celebrate since I was working all day yesterday. I'd come out and enjoy the beautiful Hampton Beach. It's a very lovely place. I've lived like 10 minutes down the road from here my whole life, and it's wonderful. I also brought with me a plastic bag. I thought I'd pick up a little bit of litter. I didn't think I'd find much because yesterday was Earth Day, but I got a pretty solid little haul here. We got one entire sock, cigarette butts, a candy wrapper, a bunch of styrofoam, some broken glass, which is bad for feet usually, bottle cap, and a straw, among other things that I can't identify. It's really rough because not littering is probably the easiest way to not be the worst person. Because at any given moment, especially in a very populated area like Hampton, New Hampshire, there's a trash can less than 20 or 30 feet away from you at any given time. So do everybody a favor if you would, and throw your garbage away. And before you do that even, I'll give you I almost fell so I couldn't speak. I'll give you an alternative. Dispose of your need to even have plastic in the first place. And I'm sorry the camera's so close to my face, but it's windy and I don't want you guys to not hear me say things. We literally touch plastic every single day. It's somewhat unavoidable. But over 50% of the plastic that we use is single-use plastics, and those are the real killers. Things like plastic water bottles or straws or plastic utensils or plastic bags at the grocery store. These are all things that we truly don't need. There are much better alternatives that are more cost effective and just require the teensiest bit more effort. And I picked up this much plastic on a beach the day after Earth Day, after walking maybe less than a quarter of a mile down this beach in a straight line. And this is all just the big plastic that we can easily see. There is a much bigger issue with something called microplastics, and this is when plastics begin to break down the tiniest bit, or you get those shampoos with the micro beads in them and tiny bits of plastic that rub off and go down the drain and back into the ocean like Nemo. And those are all floating in the ocean right now as well. And that's not good because those enter the food chain just as easily as the big stuff does, if not even easier, because smaller organisms eat smaller plastics because they look like food. Then the bigger organisms eat those smaller organisms, and it goes up the food chain until you have plastics in the stomach of dolphins and seabirds and sea turtles. Sea turtles are a great example of this because plastic bags specifically look a lot like their main food source, which is jellyfish. In the case of leatherback sea turtles, that's almost all that they eat. So if you're a sea turtle cruising around in the ocean and you see a plastic bag and you don't know what a plastic bag is, but you know it looks like a jellyfish, you're gonna eat it, and then you're gonna suffocate and you're gonna die, and we're gonna lose a beautiful dinosaur creature. In the broad spectrum of human history, this is a very new problem to have, but it's going to affect us for a very, very long time. All the plastic that's ever been made still exists. The straw that you throw away is going to still be on the planet after you die. And that is kind of unbelievable. And humans have done something really cool recently as well. They've discovered a brand new continent. After we've already mapped out everything, we've discovered a new mass, and that is the giant Pacific garbage patch. So that's a thing that my generation has to worry about getting rid of, and there's some really cool ways that that's currently happening. We do have a lot of amazing innovations and inventions for removing surface plastics from the water. It's gonna take a long time, but it's possible, and that gives me a lot of hope because there's a lot of really cool innovators out there that are working to solve that problem. Microplastics are a whole nother issue though. Microplastics being a part of the ecosystem is something that's going to take a lot more time and energy to work with and to solve. And it's another one of those things where it's like prevention is so much easier than cleanup. So my ask for this video is, first of all, don't create the problem. If you have an alternative available to you, like a reusable water bottle, metal cutlery instead of plastic, or a cloth shopping bag instead of a plastic one, please use it. It's so easy, it's economical, it just makes sense in every possible way. And if you do have to use plastic, please recycle it, because that is literally the easiest action that you can take. Throwing something in your hand into a can. Think of it like a game. You win always, unless you drop it on the ground. And then if you're like me, you like going outside, bring a plastic bag with you, which is an ironic action, but use that plastic bag to put smaller pieces of plastic things inside of them and make the world a little cleaner for everyone else. I think that's very nice. I think there's a little bit of poetic justice in there somewhere. I'm not poetic enough to say it, but if you do all these things, we can be friends. And I really want us to be friends. I'm gonna go wash my hands because I touched a lot of other people's garbage today, but go take a hike. See how easy that was? I'm barely even sweating.